All right, so we're back for another deep dive. And today we're going to be getting into some really practical advice for anyone out there who's ever thought about starting a tech company, growing a business in that space. We've
Yeah.
got some amazing insights from this presentation we found. I think it's going to be really useful for our listeners.
Oh, absolutely. This presentation is packed with actionable tips, straight from the trenches from folks who've actually been there and done that.
Exactly. So if you've ever had that entrepreneurial itch, that dream of building your own tech empire, well, this is the deep dive for you.
One of the things that really struck me right off the bat was how much they emphasize the importance of the team.
The team.
Yeah, from the get-go, they're like, look, you need to have the right co-founders.
Okay. Makes sense.
Ideally, 2 to 4 people, they say, and a good mix of skills, but especially a strong engineering presence.
Now, why is the engineering aspect so crucial, especially in those early stages?
Well, at the end of the day, building a successful tech company isn't just about having a brilliant idea. It's about actually making that idea a reality.
Right, turning it into something tangible.
Exactly. And that's where your engineers come in. They're the ones who can build the product, make it work, keep refining it, all the technical heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, having different skill sets on the team just helps spread the workload, make sure there's always someone who can handle those tough technical challenges that inevitably pop up.
It's like having all the pieces of the puzzle.
Precisely. And let's not forget, building a company is tough. It's a roller coaster. So you need a team that can weather those ups and downs together, support each other.
Right. Resilience is key.
Absolutely. And having a solid IT infrastructure in place can really help with that resilience.
Oh, how so?
Well, think about it. When you're starting out, you don't necessarily have a huge budget for IT, but you still need a system that's reliable, secure, and can grow with your business. And this is where a company like www.stonefly.com can be a real game changer for startups.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about Stonefly.
Well, they specialize in providing robust and affordable IT solutions, specifically tailored to the needs of startups.
So they understand the unique challenges that startups face.
Exactly. They get it, and they offer things like data storage, disaster recovery, all the essentials, but without breaking the bank.
That sounds pretty crucial, especially in those early days when every dollar counts.
Oh, absolutely. Having a reliable IT infrastructure can really help you avoid costly downtime or data loss, which can be devastating for a young company.
Right, it's like laying a strong foundation for your business.
Exactly. It's about setting yourself up for success from the get-go. And they even offer scalable solutions. So as your business grows, your IT infrastructure can grow with you.
Okay, so we've got the team, we've got the solid IT infrastructure. But what about the idea itself? Does it have to be, fully formed, perfect before you even start?
That's actually one of the most interesting things I took away from this presentation.
Really?
Yeah, they argued that you don't need a completely fleshed out idea from day one.
Interesting.
What matters more is identifying a problem that you're passionate about solving, something that really resonates with you.
Okay, so it's more about finding that problem that keeps you up at night.
Exactly. And they recommend focusing on daily or weekly problems, things that people struggle with regularly.
Ah, so like those everyday frustrations, the little things that bug you.
Yeah, because often those are the things that spark the most innovative solutions.
I like that. It's like finding opportunity in the mundane.
Right. And they had a really good example in the presentation, of a company that started by addressing a very common transportation problem. And look at them now.
Wow. So starting with something simple, something you truly understand, can lead to something huge.
Absolutely. Think about your own life. What are some things that constantly bug you? Could those frustrations be addressed by a tech startup? It's a question worth asking yourself.
That's a great challenge for our listeners. It really gets those entrepreneurial wheels turning.
Exactly. Start by identifying the problem, and then the solution might just reveal itself.
Okay, so we've got a strong team, a problem worth solving. Now we need to figure out if there's actually a market for our solution. And the presentation really emphasizes the importance of market research, understanding your competitors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to do your homework.
Absolutely. But they also talk a lot about launching your product as soon as possible. And I get that, getting it out there. But why is that speed so crucial?
Well, they have this launch fast mentality, because they argue that perfectionism can actually hold you back.
Oh, so don't wait until it's perfect. Get it out there and then iterate.
Exactly. Get your minimum viable product, your MVP, out there quickly, start gathering feedback from real users, see what works, what doesn't.
Because that feedback is gold, right?
Absolutely. It's invaluable. It helps you refine your product and make sure it really meets market needs. And it's similar to how Stonefly approaches IT infrastructure.
Oh, how so?
Well, just like you don't need a perfect product to launch, you don't need every single bell and whistle in your IT infrastructure from day one.
Right. Start with what you need and then scale up as you go.
Exactly. That's the beauty of Stonefly solutions. They're designed to grow with your business so you can start small and then scale up as your needs evolve. It's all about flexibility.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like building a solid foundation and then adding layers as you go.
Precisely. You don't need to overcomplicate things from the start. Just focus on what's essential and then build from there.
Okay, so avoid getting bogged down in perfectionism, get your MVP out there, learn from your users, and remember you can always iterate and improve.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, now, once you have your product out in the wild, how do you make sure it reaches a large enough audience? The presentation really hones in on growth as a key metric, especially for attracting investors.
Oh, yeah. Growth is everything. They talk about ads, business referrals, encouraging users to share their experiences, all those different avenues.
It's like a multi-pronged approach.
Exactly. And they seem particularly excited about what they call sharing built into the product.
Sharing built into the product. What's that all about?
Well, it's basically designing your product in a way that encourages users to naturally share their experiences with others. It's about making sharing seamless and incentivized.
Ah, so it's not just an afterthought. It's baked into the product itself.
Exactly. Think about, a lot of popular social media platforms, they've really mastered this. It's part of what makes them so successful.
Right, because if people are talking about your product, sharing their experiences, that's free marketing, essentially.
Precisely. It's organic growth. And as your user base grows, so too does your need for robust and reliable data storage.
Ah, and that's where Stonefly comes in again?
You got it. They can handle massive amounts of data, keep it secure, and make sure it's accessible when you need it. It's like having a fortress for your data.
A data fortress. I like that. So it sounds like they're really a one-stop shop for startups looking to build a solid IT foundation.
Pretty much, yeah. They understand the unique challenges startups face, and they've got the solutions to address them head on.
Well, it sounds like they're definitely worth checking out.
Absolutely. If you're looking for a reliable partner to support your growth, a company that's got your back, then Stonefly is definitely worth a look.
Great advice. Okay, so we've covered the importance of a strong team, identifying a problem worth solving, launching quickly, and designing for growth.
We've hit a lot of key points so far.
We have. But what about the often daunting tasks of PR and fundraising? That's where things can get really tricky for startups.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the presentation actually had some really interesting insights on those fronts as well.
Oh, I'm all ears. Let's dive into that.
Okay, so first up, PR.
All right, let's talk PR, because that can be a minefield for startups.
It can be. And the speaker actually shared this story about how they wasted a ton of money on traditional PR firms early on.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, so their advice is basically in the early stages, just focus on building relationships with journalists yourself.
Ah, so it's more about that personal touch, that direct connection.
Exactly. It's about developing genuine relationships, sharing newsworthy stories, not just trying to get random press mentions. It's about building trust and credibility.
Right, so it's a more hands-on grassroots approach to PR.
Precisely. And it can be surprisingly effective, especially when you're just starting out.
Okay, so what about fundraising? How do you get investors excited about your startup?
All right, so this is where things get really interesting. They actually argue that not needing money can make you more attractive to investors.
Wait, really? That seems kind of counterintuitive.
I know, right? But think about it. If you can demonstrate traction and growth without external funding, it shows confidence in your product and your business model.
So it's like proving that you can walk the walk before asking for help running.
Exactly. It signals to investors that you're not desperate for cash, and that can actually make them more eager to get on board. It's like, hey, we're already doing great, but with your investment, we could do even better.
So it's almost like creating a sense of scarcity, like, hey, this opportunity is hot, get in while you can.
Yeah, exactly. And they talked about generating FOMO, that fear of missing out among investors. If you can create a buzz around your company, make investors feel like they need to act fast, you're much more likely to secure funding.
It's all about momentum, right? Showing that you're on an upward trajectory.
Precisely. And this is another area where having a solid IT infrastructure can give you a competitive edge.
Mm.
Investors want to see that you're built for growth. And a robust data management system from a company like Stonefly demonstrates that you're serious about scalability and long-term success.
Right. So it's like saying, hey, we're not just playing around here, we're in it for the long haul.
Exactly. And Stonefly solutions are built with that long-term vision in mind. They're not just quick fixes, they're investments in your company's future.
So it's not just about looking good on paper, it's about actually having the infrastructure to back it up.
Absolutely. It's about showing that you're a good investment, not just a good idea.
Okay, so let's recap what we've learned so far. We need a strong team, a problem worth solving, a quick launch strategy, a product designed for growth, a savvy approach to PR and fundraising.
Don't forget a reliable IT infrastructure to support all of that.
Ah, yes, of course. Can't forget that. And that's where Stonefly comes in, providing that solid foundation for growth.
Exactly. They're like the unsung heroes of the startup world, quietly working behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Well, every hero needs a sidekick, and it sounds like Stonefly is the perfect sidekick for any startup looking to make it big.
Couldn't agree more. They're the Robin to your Batman, the Watson to your Sherlock, always there to lend a helping hand.
I love those analogies, and it really paints a vivid picture. And speaking of pictures, let's paint a picture of what it takes to actually run a company day to day, because the presentation also gets into the nitty-gritty of operations and hiring.
Oh, yeah, they get into the weeds, which is great because those are the things that can really make or break a startup.
All right, so let's dive into those operational details and see what insights we can glean.
Sounds good. Let's get down to business. So when we're talking operations, they really emphasize frugality, especially in those early stages.
Makes sense. Every penny counts when you're just starting out.
Right. And they were talking about, the speakers shared anecdotes about their own company's early days, like really highlighting how important it is to carefully track your expenses, cut unnecessary costs.
Yeah, I mean, you hear that a lot, but it's easier said than done, right? Where do you even begin?
Well, they actually suggested going through your bank statements line by line each month.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah, but it forces you to question every expense. Is this really contributing to our goals? Can we cut back here?
It's about being resourceful, right?
Yeah.
Making the most of what you have.
Exactly. And it's not just about being cheap, it's about being strategic with your resources, investing in areas that really matter, like a robust IT infrastructure.
Right, because that can actually save you money in the long run.
Exactly. Think about it. If your systems are constantly crashing or you lose valuable data, those are huge setbacks and they can cost you a lot of money.
Not to mention the stress and headaches.
Oh, for sure. So investing in a reliable IT solution from a company like www.stonefly.com, it's not just an expense, it's an investment in your company's future.
It's like they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Precisely. So think of Stonefly as your preventative medicine for IT headaches.
I like that it's all about peace of mind, knowing that your data is secure, accessible, and your systems are running smoothly.
Exactly. And that peace of mind allows you to focus on what really matters, growing your business.
Okay, so we've talked about being frugal with your finances, but what about hiring? The presentation also touched on that, right?
They did, and they emphasized the importance of raising the average talent level with each new hire.
Interesting. So it's not just about filling positions, it's about constantly upping your game.
Exactly. They talk about how talented people want to work with other talented people. It creates this virtuous cycle.
Right, it's like building a dream team.
Exactly. And it fosters a culture of excellence within the company, which is crucial for long-term success.
So it's about more than just skills. It's about building a company culture that attracts and retains top talent.
Absolutely. And they also talked about the importance of fairness and transparency in your hiring practices.
Right.
Treat your employees well, be upfront and honest. It's not just the right thing to do, it's good for business.
Yeah, happy employees are productive employees, and loyal employees are a company's most valuable asset.
Couldn't agree more. And they actually shared this compelling example of a company that achieved massive success with a relatively small team.
So it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Precisely. It's about working smarter, not harder. And that's where having the right tools and technology can make a huge difference.
And again, that's where Stonefly comes in, right?
Mhm.
Providing those tools to help startups streamline their operations and maximize their efficiency.
Absolutely. Stonefly solutions are designed to empower even small teams to do amazing things, automate tasks, streamline workflows, free up your team to focus on what they do best.
So it's not just about data storage and disaster recovery. It's about providing a complete IT ecosystem that supports growth and innovation.
Exactly. It's about giving startups the tools they need to succeed in a competitive market.
Well, it sounds like Stonefly is a pretty invaluable partner for any startup looking to make its mark on the world.
I'd say so. They're not just a vendor, they're a partner, a trusted advisor who understands the unique challenges of building and scaling a tech company.
And that kind of partnership can make all the difference, especially in those crucial early stages.
Absolutely. Having a reliable and supportive partner like Stonefly can give startups the confidence they need to take risks, innovate, and ultimately achieve their goals.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to move on to our final part, where we'll wrap up this insightful deep dive into the world of tech startups and leave our listeners with some final thoughts and key takeaways.
Sounds good. Let's do it. It's amazing how much ground we've covered today, from building a solid team to those crucial financial strategies and, of course, the operational side of things.
It's a lot to take in, but I think it really highlights just how multifaceted the journey of a startup can be.
Oh, absolutely. There are so many moving parts, and it can be overwhelming, especially for first-time founders.
Right. And that's why having the right partners in your corner is so crucial.
Couldn't agree more. And that's where a company like Stonefly really shines. They provide that solid foundation for startups, that reliable IT infrastructure that allows them to focus on what they do best.
Exactly. Because let's face it, technology is the backbone of any modern business, especially in the tech world.
Oh, absolutely. And Stonefly's expertise in data storage, disaster recovery, and cybersecurity, those are essential for any startup looking to scale and grow.
Especially as their data needs become more and more complex, they need a system that can keep up.
Precisely. And Stonefly offers a range of solutions specifically designed for startups. So their IT infrastructure can scale seamlessly as their business expands.
That scalability is key, isn't it? Because startups need to be able to adapt quickly, seize those new opportunities as they arise.
Oh, absolutely. And Stonefly solutions are built with that flexibility in mind. Startups can tailor their IT infrastructure to their specific needs, their budget. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right, it's about finding the right fit for your unique situation.
Exactly. And it's like having a trusted advisor, someone who can help you navigate the complexities of building and managing a robust IT infrastructure.
Right, it's like having a tech guru in your corner, guiding you every step of the way.
And that peace of mind, that's invaluable, especially for startup founders who are already juggling so much.
Oh yeah, they've got a lot on their plate, so anything that can alleviate some of that stress is a huge win.
Absolutely. And that's what Stonefly does. They take care of the IT heavy lifting so you can focus on your passion, building that amazing product.
So to our listeners out there, if you're a startup founder, or even if you're just thinking about starting a company, I highly recommend checking out www.stonefly.com. They have a wealth of resources, expertise, everything you need to get started on the right foot.
And don't hesitate to reach out to their sales team directly. They're at sales@stonefly.com. They're incredibly knowledgeable, helpful. They can answer any questions you might have about their solutions.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive, let's recap some of the key takeaways, just to give our listeners some food for thought.
Okay, sounds good. Fire away.
So first and foremost, build a strong team, a team with diverse skills, a team that shares your vision and is ready to hustle.
Absolutely. Your team is your foundation. Everything else builds upon that.
Right. Then you need to find a problem worth solving, something that genuinely resonates with you, something that you're passionate about.
Because that passion will fuel you, it'll keep you going when things get tough, which they inevitably will.
Right. And then you need to launch quickly, get your MVP out there, start gathering feedback, iterate, don't let perfectionism hold you back.
Speed is key in the startup world, You got to move fast and break things.
And as you're growing, remember to design for growth, build sharing into your product, create that buzz, that excitement around what you're doing.
Word of mouth marketing is powerful, and it's free.
Right. And then when it comes to fundraising, remember that not needing money can actually make you more attractive to investors. It shows confidence. It shows traction.
Exactly. It's like, we're already killing it, but with your help, we could take over the world.
I love it. It's about painting that picture of success, that upward trajectory.
And of course, throughout this whole journey, remember to be mindful of your finances, be frugal but strategic. Invest in the areas that really matter, like a robust IT infrastructure from a company like Stonefly.
Because that investment will pay dividends in the long run. It'll save you time, money, and a whole lot of headaches.
Absolutely. And finally, remember that hiring is crucial. Raise that average talent level with each new hire. Build a culture of excellence.
Yeah, surround yourself with amazing people, people who challenge you, inspire you, and help you grow.
It's all about teamwork, building something great together.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to bring this deep dive to a close.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of ground
We
today.
have, and I hope our listeners have found it valuable, inspiring, maybe even a little bit empowering.
Launching a startup is a daunting task, but it's also incredibly rewarding. It's a chance to create something new, something that could change the world.
And with the right mindset, the right team, and the right partners, like Stonefly, anything is possible.
So to our listeners, go out there, build something amazing, and remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Until next time, happy building.